Hard work and determination of our area athletes. This is The Score on WQAD News 8.
Good evening and welcome to The Score Sunday. I'm Camille Gear. It's been another busy week in local sports. We will recap some of those big stories coming up in just a little bit. But first, coming up tonight, the Illini Caravan making its way to the Quad Cities this week. We have a sit-down interview with the Illini football head coach, Bret Bielema. The John Deere Classic is only 30 days away. The defending champ Lucas Glover was in town. We see what he has to say as he gets ready to defend his title. And our FCA Story of the Week features a summer camp you won't want to miss out on, and we will recap some softball success as teams get ready to play in the Elite Eight. We start tonight with Illinois football coach Bret Bielema. Sports director Matt Randazzo sat down with the Prophetstown native to talk about Illinois football.
Welcome to The Score Sunday. We have a busy show for you once again this week, but we start with a little college football and a familiar face back in the Quad Cities. We're joined now by the head football coach of the Fighting Illini, Bret Bielema. We're going to talk a lot of football in a second, but I want to talk about you being here, because I was going to say it was a return home, kind of, because you're really from Prophetstown, but you literally grew up kind of right here when you were really, really young.
Yeah, we drove through Silvis. I was born in Silvis, Illinois. I was born in Illini Hospital, and then we lived in East Moline off of 23rd Avenue, and then moved when I was 5. But yeah, my dad, when he saw this venue, he used to work in this area, and we didn't live very far from here at all.
Why is it important for the Illinois and the Fighting Illini to be back up here? It's been, we mentioned when we sat down, it's been almost 10 years, I think, since the Caravan's been here. A lot of familiar faces from our area now on coaching staffs down there, but it's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is, it's about a 3-hour trek over here, right? And I think anytime we can, as coaches, come out and touch the fans in their hometowns and their communities, that's a very, very unique thing, and I think fans appreciate that. So judging by the way I've seen this kind of play out here in the last couple of weeks, it's really fun. I think they're expecting full capacity here tonight, and to touch the hands of our fans on their home turf is huge.
You grew up in this area. You know it's a rivalry area between Iowa and Illinois, but the Illini fan base is vocal, it's big, it's a good fan base up here, correct?
It is. It represents very well. I've heard from a lot of them since I took the job. I think the big thing that, this area, because of the dynamic of the border and obviously all the community, but you also get a lot of people that come in, just as many that probably go out, and that brings ties as well.
Your first year is it's done. If you go back and look at it, and I don't want to say grade yourself, but when you look at the big picture, how did year one go for Bret Bielema?
I think the thing I always say as a head coach, my perspective is always going to be different, right? My indicators, all the things that I believe are important, are probably going to be a little bit different from the media, the outside world, the fan base. But I think overall, you could say we took a lot of positive steps in the right direction. I think we were competitive, and we had 12 games. 10 of those 12 really could have gone either way. We lost 2 games kind of decisively, but the other 10 games could have gone. We won 5 and we lost 5. And the fact of the matter is, if we do things a little bit better, we could have had better results. If we didn't do things as well, we may have had worse results. But our kids, I think, at the end of the year, were playing as good at football as they played all year.
And you look at it, and in college football and in the Big Ten, you're going to be in a lot of competitive games. Is that what it's about, is getting in those competitive games? And then now the next step maybe be to figure out how to win the majority of those?
Yeah, I think the first step is to be in the game, right? And then, I had a wise coach once tell me, right, you got to win all the ones you should and win a couple of the ones you shouldn't. And that's when you're going to really be at a good point. And I'm not sure we're quite there yet. I think we're stepping in the right direction. I love our roster. I love our coaching staff. I like what they bring. And I think we're getting closer by the day.
Back in the Big Ten, was there a moment last year where you realized, hey, I'm back in the Big Ten. This is kind of where I grew up. This is where I've done a lot of my work so far.
Yeah, it was. The irony of this whole season, our opening game was against Nebraska. My last game as a Big Ten coach was against Nebraska in a Big Ten championship game. It was a rematch game, and we
won them both, I think.
We won them both.
Okay,
the championship game one was a pretty lopsided 70-14, whatever it was. It was a pretty lopsided.
You know what it was.
I know what it was. But the game this year was a hard-fought 4-quarter game, and it really was that moment where I'm like, okay, hey, we're back. The defining moment, though, was I obviously went to the University of Iowa. I have a Tiger Hawk tattoo when I was 19. Was a hell of an idea, but this year I missed that week because of COVID, right? This whole COVID scenario has brought about so many different stories. But the culmination for me this past year was I was excited to play in that game. My alma mater. I worked for Kirk out of respect more than anything, and to be denied that opportunity to be sitting at Airbnb on a couch, and I couldn't have any contact with my coaches or players.
Yeah.
It was a very unique experience.
You're rebuilding Illinois, and I know fans sometimes want maybe results quicker than what they're going to come. It's a rebuilding process. Do you look at it like that and make sure that you're doing things in the right order? Because there's quicker fixes in the college football,
Yeah.
but there's no quick fix in college football.
I understand the verbiage, right? I don't like the term rebuild, right? But I do like the idea of we're trying to build this to the way we want to get it done, right? So we play a different style of football than they did before I got here. Right, wrong, or indifferent, we just do. Our roster is going to be built a little bit different. The philosophies that we have in our daily routine is going to be different. We put a huge price tag on what we call tough, smart, dependable. If you are those three things and it exists at a high level, you have a really good chance of being successful on Saturdays, and that's what it's all about.
You move into year two. Expectations any different, or is it just part of that building things in the way that you want to build them and moving forward one step at a time?
Year two we should be better, right? I've said it over and over. I didn't come in here to win 5 games, right? Like I came here to be competitive for Big Ten championships and go to bowl games and graduate our players and do things that make people proud of the University of Illinois. And I think we're making strides in that direction. There's no doubt in my mind. But bottom line is you're going to be defined by the 12 games you're set to play. We have 12 games in front of us. We start with a Wyoming game. We end with a Northwestern game, and everything we do in between there is going to define our success from the outside world. What I get our guys to do is just worry about the moment, right? If we get up every day and we're better today than we were yesterday, we got a chance.
Spring practice is done. Take me inside of it real quick. I know
Yeah.
you'll tell fans here tonight kind of what you did. You see more competition, more talent, all the kind of things that you want to see?
Yeah, without a doubt. We had 15 practices. I think 14 of those 15 were a step in the right direction. There's one day where I felt we stepped backwards, and I let them know that and let them know how important it is to recognize that happened and why it can happen in the future. It may sound weird, but one of our defining moments, there was a day when 2 of our best players kind of got into it, and it was really based on the idea the expectation level has to be higher than what it's been. So when you get your best players, right, challenging each other at a highest level, that's when you make progress. And that's what I began to see this fall.
You look at the University of Illinois, good defense last year, ran the football. I know the way you want to start running the football, but it all comes back to that quarterback position. That's just whether you're in Iowa City, whether you're in East Lansing.
Yeah.
Where is the quarterback position for the University of Illinois heading into this season?
Matt, I think there's 2 things, right? We have a couple guys that returned from a year ago. Art Sikowski, who although he wasn't able to go through the spring, he played a lot of really good football for us last year. Unfortunately, had an out-of-season injury, or a season-ending injury that he had surgery on his wrist, but also some corrective surgery, and he's back throwing it better than he's ever thrown it, so that's exciting. Had a transfer, Tommy DeVito, come in from Syracuse, who had a really, really good spring, and then we brought in an influx of some new talent. So excited to see where these guys are going to go, but you're correct, right? Everybody, they all love those pretty boys for a reason. So.
You gave me who it is. You gave me the people. You didn't give me a guy yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you need to, obviously, but do you want to have a guy by the beginning of the year, or are you okay with having a guy every other week, or having it play out the competition into the season?
I think
you want to have a guy.
Quarterback is like any other position, right? Like they need to know who the starter is and who the backup is and what the plan is. And I think the more you can solidify that, the better your team will be. I'm not saying that I'm going to name them 2 weeks out, 1 week out, but I do think going in that opening game, everybody in that locker room will know who's going to start the game and who we believe can, take us to a level of winning that game. The next week, if it changes, it changes, but it's always going to be the best person in that position to give us that option.
You'll let me know first, right?
I would let someone know.
There you go.
At the same time.
Take me through college football as a whole, because this NIL thing and transfers and everything. Where do you? I mean, because it's different all over the place, but it's a changing beast right now. Where are you at with what the NIL is, transfers, everything that's going on in
NIL
college
is probably one of the biggest changes in college football history, right? All sports, but I worry about college football. There's never been a time where such one rule, one single act can change the direction of a program significantly as fast as an NIL world can. So I think the elements of the NIL are incredible, awesome. Former player myself, right? And I think anytime we can benefit and give benefit to our student athletes is a positive thing. I think the thing that people have rise or issue with is these absorbed crazy numbers that are being reported. Whether they're real or not, I don't really know, but I can tell you that when there's smoke, there's probably a little bit of fire, and I think the core element of it is really good. We've had a couple guys that have, gotten some nice, good deals that help them and their family. Kids that are away from home that can travel their families and benefit from that. it's only a positive. It's just got to be done in the right way.
Do you feel ever that you have to re-recruit kids or make sure kids are going to want to stay on board and do what they're doing with the way transferring is and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a different segment,
Yeah.
right? That's the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And they are closely related, right? And they can by far, you can see the effect that both of them have. But I've told our coaches since I arrived here, there's never been a time in college football where the development and the building of the relationships within your own team is as important as it is now. Today's second string left guard is going to be tomorrow's starting right guard, right? And you have to understand, if he's not happy with where he's at or where he's going, he may leave when you need him to become that starter. So it's a huge time in our program where we got to develop and build our roster and on a daily basis.
Coach, before I let you go, there's a mom and a dad over there.
Yeah.
To be able to, is this surreal to think that you're at your point in this life where you have a head coaching job at a Big Ten university and you're going on a Caravan and, oh, by the way, mom and dad are going to come and visit and all that. Do you ever sit back and go like, wow,
this is my
cool.
14th year as a head coach, but I've been in college athletics as a coach now for 28 years. So they've been with me on this journey. I remember calling them and telling them I was going to be the head coach at the University of Wisconsin. I was 35 years old, right? So, that's 17 years ago, right? And to have them now to see them, the grandparents of my children, it's awesome to share this journey with them in as many ways as I can.
How much advice do you get from Dad? Do you get any? Does he give you advice?
No, he's always got advice. But he didn't really play the game. He was a competitive baseball player and all that goes into it. So a lot of times it's more just support. But I do get a few questions here and there. But him and my mom especially just have been unwavering in their support for me during the best of times and the worst of times. They've been there every day, and that's what really matters.
Coach, thanks again.
Absolutely.
Welcome home. Don't be a stranger. Get the orange and blue back up here as much as possible.
Appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
Appreciate
Best
you.
of luck this year.
Yep.
All right, that's it with Coach Bret Bielema. We'll have much more on the Score Sunday right after this.